I always thought the worst moment of my life would feel more dramatic. Instead, it happened on a perfectly ordinary Tuesday morning while I was eating yogurt at my desk. Your available balance is $12.47. I blinked at my phone screen, then refreshed the banking app. Same number. I refreshed again, my heart starting to pound. Yesterday, that number had been $65,173.20. My house fund, built up over 6 years of overtime shifts and skipped vacations. My name is Ingrid, and this is the story of how my parents stole my future to save my brother's ass. Again. "Genesis!" I called across our shared office. "I need you to look at something." My best friend rolled her chair over, frowning at my phone. "That can't be right. Did you get hacked?" I was already dialing my bank. 20 minutes and 3 customer service representatives later, I had my answer. The money had been withdrawn yesterday afternoon, in person at my local branch, by my mother, who was still listed as a joint account holder from when she'd helped me open it at 16. I hadn't even known she could still access it. My hands shook as I dialed her number. She answered on the first ring, like she'd been waiting. "Ingrid, honey, I was just about to call you. Can you come over tonight? Your father and I need to discuss something important." "The $65,000 you took from my account?" My voice cracked. "That kind of important?" A pause. "Yes, well, it's about Luca. He's in trouble, sweetheart. Real trouble this time. Come over at 7 and we'll explain everything." She hung up before I could respond. I made it through the workday somehow, though Genesis had to talk me out of the bathroom twice when I broke down crying. At 7:01 p.m, I walked into my parents' house to find them sitting at the kitchen table with Luca. He wouldn't meet my eyes. "Sit down, Ingrid," Dad said, using his reasonable voice, the one that meant he'd already decided everything and was just waiting for everyone else to fall in line. I'd rather stand. "Your brother made some mistakes," Mum began, reaching for Luca's hand. "He got in over his head with some very dangerous people. They were threatening him, sweetheart. We had to act fast." "So you stole my money?" The words felt like glass in my throat. "Borrowed," Dad corrected, "and it wasn't stealing. Your mother's name was on the account." "To help me save for a house," I was shouting now. "My house, the one I've been working towards since I was 21. "You're being dramatic," Luca finally spoke, rolling his eyes. "It's just money. You can save it up again." I stared at him, my golden boy brother, wearing designer jeans that probably cost more than my monthly grocery budget. "How much did you lose gambling this time?" "That's not important," Mum cut in. "What matters is family. Family protects each other. You wouldn't want anything to happen to your brother, would you?" "What matters," I said slowly, "is that you stole $65,000 from your daughter to bail out your son. Again." "You've always been the responsible one," Dad said, like it was a compliment. "The strong one. Luca needs more support right now." "Support?" I laughed, and it sounded horrible. "You mean enablement? Theft?" "We'll pay you back," Mom promised, but I saw the lie in her eyes. They always promised to pay me back. "When?" I demanded. "How?" Silence. That's what I thought. I turned to leave, then stopped. "You know what the worst part is? You didn't even ask me first. You didn't even give me the choice to say no." "Because you would have said no," Luca burst out. "You're so fucking perfect, aren't you? Never make mistakes, never need help." "Help?" I whirled back. "Is that what you call this? Help?" "Ingrid," Mum's voice took on that wounded tone I'd heard my whole life. "We're family, we have to stick together." I looked at them, really looked. My mother's practiced concern, my father's stern dismissal, Luca's entitled anger. They'd never change. They'd never even try. "You're right," I said quietly. "We are family, and family should face consequences together too." I walked out, deleted their numbers from my phone and drove to Genesis's apartment. As I sat on her couch that night, something cold and certain crystallized in my chest. They wanted family loyalty. I'd give them the kind that shows up in certified mail. "You're going full nuclear option, aren't you?" Genesis pushed her lunch salad around with a fork, studying my face across the break room table. "I know that look." I was hunched over my laptop, scrolling through bank statements. "Did you know there's no gift tax exemption for amounts over 15,000? Funny how that works." "Girl, slow down. You can't just nuke your parents and expect to feel better." "Watch me." I turned the screen to show her a series of screenshots. "Look at these transfers. This isn't the first time they've helped Luca this year. 5,000 in March, 8,000 in June, all from their accounts, but now I'm wondering where that money really came from." Genesis leaned forward. "What do you mean?" "Remember when I couldn't go to Cancun with you guys last spring because my car suddenly needed $3,000 in repairs?" "Yeah." "Guess what showed up in Luca's Venmo history 3 days later? A $3,000 payment to someone called Lucky 7 Valley 7. Genesis's fork clattered against her plate. "No way. They've been stealing from me in bits and pieces for years. I just never connected the dots." My phone buzzed. Another voicemail from Mum. I deleted it without listening. "Have you talked to Luca?" Genesis asked. "Maybe if you confronted him." "Already tried. He's not answering my calls." I pulled up another screen. "But his Instagram sure is active. Check out what he posted yesterday." Genesis leaned in to look at the photo of Luca posing next to a shiny used Mustang. The caption read, "Sometimes life gives you second chances." "That son of a—" Genesis caught herself. "When was this posted?" "Yesterday afternoon, right after I found out about my missing money." I clicked through more bank statements. "And look what I found buried in these transfers. $10,000 to Capital City Auto Sales." "From your money?" "Bingo." Genesis sat back, shaking her head. "So they didn't even use all of it to pay off his gambling debts?" "Apparently not." I closed my laptop. "You know what the real kicker is? I found an email Mum sent Luca last week. She told him not to worry, that Ingrid always understands, and she'll bounce back like always." That's messed up. That's family. I pulled out a thick packet of forms I'd printed that morning. "You know what else is family? Gift taxes. The IRS considers any amount over $15,000 to be taxable. And guess who's legally required to report it?" Genesis's eyes widened. "The givers? Your parents? Who conveniently forgot to file a Form 709 for their very generous gift to Luca." I started filling out the first page. "Funny how that works." "Ingrid," Genesis touched my arm, "are you sure about this? Once you start something with the IRS—" "They stole my future," I cut her off. "My house, my independence. And they did it without a second thought, because they knew I'd understand, because I always understand." "I get that, but—" "No," I looked up from the forms, "you don't get it. This isn't just about the money. It's about every time they've chosen him over me, every time they've taken from me to give to him, every time they've expected me to just accept it, because I'm the responsible one." My phone buzzed again. A text from Dad this time. "Your mother's crying, call us." I blocked his number. "You know what the worst part is?" I continued filling out the form. "I found more emails. Mum's been planning this for weeks. They knew exactly what they were doing when they kept my name off that account. They were just waiting for the right moment to drain it." Genesis was quiet for a moment. "What are you hoping happens?" "Justice." I signed the bottom of the first page. "Pure and simple, they broke the law, they stole from me. Now they get to face the consequences." "And Luca?" "Gets to learn that Mustangs don't protect you from the IRS." I started on the next page. "You know what Mum always says? Family protects family. Well, maybe it's time they learned what it feels like when family turns on them instead. Genesis watched me work in silence for a while. Finally, she said, "Just be careful, okay? Revenge has a way of burning everyone involved." I thought about my empty savings account, about years of sacrificed dreams, about that smug look on Luca's face in his Instagram post. Some things, I said quietly, are worth getting burned for. I found Luca at Murphy's bar, exactly where I knew he'd be. Thursday nights were half-price wings, and my brother never could resist a bargain, as long as someone else was paying. "Hey, sis," he grinned when I slid onto the bar stool next to him. "Finally decided to stop ignoring my texts. Finally decided to tell me about the Mustang." His grin faltered for just a second. "Oh, that. Just a little something to help get back on my feet. You know how it is, need reliable transportation for work and all that." "Funny," I signalled the bartender. "Vodka tonic, please." So the $10,000 from my savings that went to Capital City auto sales, that was for work. Luca's face did something complicated. "Look, it's not what you think." "Really? Because I think you took my money I saved for 6 years, and bought a sports car instead of paying your gambling debts." "I did pay them," he lowered his voice, glancing around. "Most of them anyway. But Gabriel was being unreasonable about the interest, and I needed something to show for all this. You know, investment." "Investment?" The vodka tonic arrived. I took a long sip. "Is that what we're calling theft now? Come on, Ingrid." He tried for his charming smile, the one that always worked on Mom. "You know I'm good for it, once things turn around. Like they turned around after you lost your college fund, or after you emptied Dad's emergency savings, or maybe like they turned around after you borrowed against Mum's retirement." His smile vanished. "They told you about that?" "No, they didn't tell me anything. I had to find out by digging through old emails." I pulled out my phone, just like I had to find out about this. I showed him the email from Mom. "Don't worry, sweetie. Ingrid always understands. She bounces back like always." "That's—" He shifted uncomfortably. "That's taken out of context." "Then give me the context, Luca. Explain to me how any of this is okay." He took a long pull from his beer. "You don't understand what it's like. The pressure, the need to make things right. One big win, and I could fix everything. The Mustang was going to give you that big win." "It's not just any Mustang," he said defensively. "It was for Sarah. You remember Sarah? The girl you were dating last month. Yeah, she really liked it. Said it showed I was getting my life together." He stared into his beer. "She dumped me anyway." I felt something between a laugh and a scream build in my throat. "So you stole my house fund to buy a car for a girl who dumped you?" "Borrowed," he corrected automatically. "And Mum said—" "Mum said what? That it was okay to steal from me? That I'd understand?" "You always do." The words exploded out of him. "That's your thing, isn't it? Perfect Ingrid, always understanding, always cleaning up everyone else's messes. Must be nice, being so much better than everyone else." "Better?" I slammed my glass down. "You think this is about being better? This is about being used, about being treated like your personal piggy bank because Mum and Dad decided you're more important than me?" "That's not true." "Really? When's the last time they helped me with anything? When's the last time they sacrificed for me instead of you?" He was quiet for a long moment. Finally, he mumbled, "You don't need the help. You're, stable." "I was stable," I corrected. "I was going to buy a house. Now I have $12.47 in my account." "I'll pay you back," he said. But the words were slurred. He'd had more than the one beer I'd seen. "Once things turn around, once I get back on track—" "Save it." I stood up. "I didn't come here for promises." "Then why did you come?" I looked at my brother. Really looked at him. The designer clothes bought with stolen money. The keys to my future sitting in his pocket, probably already traded for a car he'd wreck or sell when he needed his next gambling fix. "I came to give you a chance to make it right," I said quietly. "To come clean, to face what you did. But you can't, can you? You'll never change." "Ingrid, the IRS has a form called a 709, I cut him off. "You should look it up. Mum and Dad are about to become very familiar with it." His face went pale. "You wouldn't?" I thought about Mum's email, about always understanding, about always bouncing back. "Watch me," I said, and walked out of the bar. That night, I finished filling out the form. My hand didn't shake once as I signed it. The post office clerk barely looked up as I handed over the thick envelope. "Certified mail?" "Yes." I watched her attach the tracking label. "With return receipt, please." Form 709, gift tax return. 8 pages of meticulously documented transfers, complete with bank statements, emails, and timestamps. A nuclear bomb disguised as paperwork. My phone buzzed, another blocked call from Mom. They'd been coming hourly since my conversation with Luca last night. I silenced it without looking. "That'll be $7.25, the clerk said. Best $8 I'd ever spent. Later that night, I sat on Genesis's couch, nursing a glass of wine. "It's done." "How do you feel?" "Honestly." I stared into my glass. "I don't even care about the money anymore. I just want them to feel what I felt. That moment of panic when you realize someone you trusted has betrayed you." "Girl," Genesis topped off my glass, "they're still your parents." "Are they? Because parents are supposed to protect their children. All of them, not just the ones who screw up the most." My phone lit up with a Facebook notification. Victoria, my mum's busybody friend from church, had posted, "Praying for the Emerson family tonight. Can't believe they had to sell poor Ingrid's college fund again to help Luca. Some people never learn." Genesis peered at my screen. "How did she—" "Mom probably told her looking for sympathy." I laughed bitterly. She always does this, plays the martyred mother role while throwing me under the bus. The comments are blowing up. They were. Dozens of reactions, mostly shocked faces and angry emojis. Comments ranging from, "This isn't the first time," to "Poor Ingrid," to "Someone needs to cut that boy off." My phone rang again. Dad this time, from a new number. "You should answer it," Genesis said softly. "At least hear them out." I hit decline. They had their chance to talk. Multiple chances. Now they can talk to the IRS. As if on cue, my phone buzzed with a text from Luca. "What the hell did you do? Some lady named Simone Cooper just called Dad about unreported gifts." "That was fast," Genesis remarked, reading over my shoulder. "The IRS doesn't mess around with gift tax evasion." I blocked Luca's number too. Especially not when it's this much money. What happens now? Now? I took another sip of wine. Now they get to experience consequences, maybe for the first time in their lives. My email pinged. A message from Mum, subject line, "How could you?" I opened it. "Ingrid, your father just got off the phone with the IRS. How could you do this to your family? We raised you better than this. Luca is devastated. He trusted you. We all trusted you. If you don't fix this immediately, you'll destroy this family. Is that what you want? To tear us apart over money? Call me as soon as you get this." "Mom?" "Wow," Genesis said after reading it. "She's still trying to make you the bad guy." "Always has." I deleted the email. Notice how she's more worried about the family's reputation than the fact that they stole my money. You really think they'll face consequences? The IRS doesn't play around with unreported gifts over $15,000. They'll get hit with fines, penalties, maybe even an audit. I finished my wine, and once that happens, everything comes out. Every sketchy transfer, every covered-up gambling debt, every lie. And Luca gets to learn that Mustangs can be repossessed. My phone lit up again, this time with a voicemail notification. Dad's voice, angry and scared. "Ingrid, this IRS agent is asking questions we can't answer. If you don't call me back right now and fix this, I swear to God." I deleted it before the threat finished. "You know what the funny thing is?" I said to Genesis. "I keep waiting to feel guilty, to feel bad about what I'm doing to them, but all I feel is relief." Relief? Yeah, like I'm finally standing up for myself, like I'm finally saying no more to being their emotional ATM. Genesis was quiet for a moment. What if they try to press charges? For what? Reporting their tax evasion. Everything I submitted was true. They're the ones who broke the law, not me. My phone buzzed one final time, a text from Victoria. "Ingrid, honey, your mother is crying at Bible study. Please call her. Family is everything." I turned off my phone completely. "Family is everything," I echoed. That's what they always said. But they never meant my part of the family, did they? Genesis squeezed my hand. "You're my family now." I squeezed back, thinking about that certified mail receipt in my purse. Sometimes family is who you choose, and sometimes family is who you choose to walk away from. The IRS moves faster than you'd expect. 2 weeks after I mailed that form, Dad's lawyer called me at work. "Miss Emerson, this is Robert Kane. Your father asked me to reach out regarding the current situation." "You mean the tax fraud investigation?" A sharp intake of breath. "That's a serious accusation, one that could have severe consequences for your entire family." "I'm aware. Your father is willing to negotiate. Perhaps we could schedule a meeting." "Everything I know is already in the IRS's hands," I cut him off. "Have a nice day." I hung up to find Genesis standing in my office doorway. "Lawyer calls already? That was fast." "Dad's panicking." I showed her the string of texts I'd received that morning. Threats, pleading, guilt trips, the whole spectrum. Mum's been calling everyone we know, telling them I'm having some kind of breakdown. "Speaking of your mum," Genesis nodded toward the office entrance. My mother stood there, mascara streaked down her face. "Ingrid, please, we need to talk." "I'm working." "They're auditing us," her voice cracked. "Do you know what this will do to our reputation? The church committee has already asked me to step down." "That must be difficult for you." I kept my voice flat. "Almost as difficult as having your life savings stolen." "We're your parents." "Really? Because parents protect their children. They don't steal from them." "We were protecting Luca." "By sacrificing me!" The words exploded out of me. "Every single time you choose him, every mistake, every bad decision, every gambling debt, you clean it up by taking from me." "That's not. Remember when I was 16? My hands shook as I stood up. Luca vandalized Mr. Peterson's car, spray-painted it because he gave him a C-. You took my college fund to pay for the repairs. "We paid you back." "No, you didn't. You promised to, just like you promised to pay back the $3,000 you borrowed for my car repairs, the money you gave straight to Luca for his gambling debts." Genesis touched my arm. "Ingrid, maybe we should—" "You want to know the worst part?" I continued, ignoring her. "I found Luca's bookie, Gabriel Hill. He says he never got the full payment. So where did my money really go?" Mum's face went white. "That's what I thought." I sat back down. "Now, if you'll excuse me, I have work to do." "The IRS investigator is coming tomorrow," she whispered. "Simone Cooper. She wants to see all our financial records." "Then I suggest you start getting them in order." Mum left, shoulders shaking. Genesis watched her go. "You okay?" "No." I pressed my palms against my eyes. "But I will be." My phone buzzed, a text from an unknown number. "We need to talk about your brother's debts. Gabriel." Before I could respond, Victoria burst into my office. "Ingrid, I just heard. Your father's business partner is pulling out because of the audit. How could you do this to them?" The same way they could steal my house fund, I guess. But they're your family, and now everyone knows about their problems. She lowered her voice dramatically. The whole church is talking. Good. I met her eyes. Let them talk. After she left, Genesis perched on my desk. You know this is going to get worse before it gets better, right? It has to get worse. I showed her Gabriel's text. The truth always does. My phone rang again. Simone Cooper from the IRS. Miss Emerson, I'd like to schedule a meeting to discuss the gift tax report you filed. Of course. We've uncovered some concerning patterns in your family's financial history. Would tomorrow at 2 p.m. work? I thought about Mum's tears, Dad's threats, Luca's lies. Tomorrow's perfect. After I hung up, Genesis studied my face. You're really going to do this? Tell them everything. Everything? I pulled out a folder. 6 years of documented transfers, screenshots, emails. No more protecting them, no more understanding. And Luca's bookie gets to explain to the IRS where that money really went. I smiled, but it felt more like baring teeth. Funny how karma works. My phone lit up with one final text from Luca. They're going to take the Mustang. Hope you're happy. I was. For the first time in weeks, I really was. Because sometimes the best revenge isn't loud or dramatic. Sometimes it's just the quiet click of consequences finally catching up to the people who thought they'd never face them. And tomorrow, at 2 p.m., those consequences would arrive in the form of an IRS investigator who didn't care about family loyalty or mother's tears. She only cared about the truth. The fallout happened faster than even I expected. By Friday, Dad's business partner had pulled out of their joint venture, citing liability concerns. Mum lost her position as treasurer of the church committee. And Luca? His friends started disappearing the moment they realized his endless supply of money had run dry. Your brother's car got repossessed yesterday, Genesis told me over lunch. It's all over Facebook. I scrolled through my feed, past the sympathetic posts and crying emojis. Play stupid games, win stupid prizes. Victoria's running her mouth again. Says your dad had to cancel their country club membership. Tragic. I took a bite of my sandwich. Maybe they can use the membership fees to pay their tax penalties instead. My phone buzzed. Gabriel again. He'd been trying to reach me all week. You going to answer him eventually? And say what? Sorry, my brother's a degenerate gambler who lies about paying his debts? Genesis leaned forward. You really think Luca lied about where the money went? I know he did. Gabriel told the IRS investigators that he only received $20,000, not $65,000. I showed her the case notes Simone had shared. The rest? Who knows? Probably buried under a mountain of lies, just like everything else with Luca. A shadow fell across our table. Mum stood there, holding a worn cardboard box. Can we talk? Her voice was rough, like she'd been crying. Please? Genesis squeezed my hand and left us alone. Mum sat down, pushing the box toward me. What's this? Your things? From when you were little? She opened it, pulling out old photos, school awards, my childhood diary. I thought you might want them. Now? After everything? The church asked me to resign from all committees. Her hands trembled. Your father's partner. 30 years of friendship gone. Because of an audit. Because of theft, I corrected. Don't pretend this is about anything else. We were trying to protect him. By destroying me? I picked up my old diary, remembering the girl who wrote in it, who still believed in fairness, in family. Did you know I found my entry from my 13th birthday, when you promised me money for a bike, then gave it to Luca for a gaming console instead? She flinched. You wrote me a note that day, I continued. Said sometimes we have to sacrifice for family, that I was such a good sister for understanding. I met her eyes. I believed you back then, believed every lie you told about how things would be different next time. We never meant to get caught. I pushed the box back toward her. Keep it. I don't need reminders of all the times you chose him over me. The IRS is freezing our accounts, she whispered. They're talking about penalties, fines. Your father might lose his business license. That's what happens when you commit tax fraud. Is that what you wanted? To destroy us? I thought about my empty savings account, about years of broken promises and stolen dreams. No, Mom, I wanted you to face consequences. For once in your lives, I wanted you and Dad and Luca to understand what it feels like to lose everything. We're still your family. Are we? Because family doesn't steal from each other. Family doesn't justify theft with understanding. Family doesn't... My phone buzzed again. Gabriel. This time, I answered. What? Your brother owes me 40 grand, he said without preamble. Not 20, not 65, 40, and I've got the receipts to prove it. Mum's face went pale as she heard his voice. So where did the rest of my money go? I asked, watching her. Because someone's lying about the numbers, and I'm starting to think it's not just Luca. Ask your parents, Gabriel said. Ask them about the transfers to their personal accounts, the ones that never made it to me. I hung up, staring at my mother. Want to explain? She stood up so quickly the box fell, spilling photos across the floor. I have to go. Mom? I'm sorry, she whispered, and fled. I looked down at the scattered photos. Me at graduation holding my diploma. Luca at his first casino, grinning with a stack of chips. Mum and Dad at their anniversary dinner, paid for with money that was supposed to be for my car repairs. A lifetime of lies, captured in Kodak moments. My phone buzzed one last time. Simone Cooper. Miss Emerson, we've found some discrepancies in your parents' personal accounts. Would you be available to review them tomorrow? I typed back yes and watched Mum's retreating figure through the window. Sometimes karma doesn't just come for the guilty. Sometimes it comes for everyone who helped hide their sins. And tomorrow, those sins would finally see the light. Simone Cooper didn't look like an avenging angel. She looked like someone's stern aunt, with reading glasses and sensible shoes. But when she opened that folder in the IRS office, I saw my parents' world end in columns of numbers. The total unreported gifts exceed $200,000 over the past 3 years, she said, tapping her pen against the spreadsheet. Not just your $65,000, Miss Emerson. There were multiple transfers from retirement accounts, home equity loans, and personal savings. Dad sat rigid in his chair. Mum kept dabbing at her eyes with a tissue. And as for the most recent transfer... Simone adjusted her glasses. Only $40,000 went to Mr. Hill for gambling debts. The remaining $25,000 was divided between personal purchases and transfers to your parents' accounts. That's not true, Luca protested from his chair. I needed all of it for... We have the bank records, Simone cut him off, including receipts for a used Mustang, several designer purchases, and... She checked her notes. A weekend in Las Vegas. I felt oddly calm. So they didn't just steal my money, they helped him hide it. Ingrid, please, Mum whispered. The IRS takes gift tax evasion very seriously, Simone continued, especially when it involves multiple instances of unreported transfers exceeding the annual exclusion limit. What does that mean? Dad's voice was hoarse. It means penalties, significant ones. She pulled out another document. We're looking at fines of up to 40% of the unreported amounts, plus interest. And given the pattern of evasion, we'll be conducting a full audit of your finances going back 5 years. Luca went pale. 5 years? Additionally, Simone turned to my parents, your business accounts will be subject to review. Any licenses or certifications may be suspended pending investigation. Dad put his head in his hands. This is all your fault, Mum suddenly turned on me. "We were helping family. How could you do this to us?" "Mrs. Emerson," Simone's voice could have frozen fire, "your daughter didn't commit tax fraud. You did, along with theft, as those accounts were accessed without proper authorization." "But we had access." "Joint account access doesn't grant legal right to transfer funds without consent." Simone closed her folder. "You'll receive formal notice of the penalties within 30 days. I suggest you retain legal counsel." Outside the IRS office, Luca tried to catch my arm. "Ingrid, wait! Don't touch me! I can explain." "Explain what? How you used my money for a Vegas trip while Mum and Dad covered for you, or how they helped you hide it?" "We were going to pay you back." "With what?" I turned to face my family. "The money you stole from my car repair fund, or maybe the money you took from Mum's retirement. Face it, you're all just thieves in different packaging." "That's enough," Dad stepped forward. "You've made your point. You've destroyed this family. Are you happy now?" I looked at them, really looked. Mum's mascara-streaked face, Dad's trembling hands, Luca's designer clothes that probably still had price tags on them. Happy? No. Satisfied? Yes. I stepped back. "You taught me well, you know. All those years of watching you cover up Luca's mistakes, justify his theft, enable his addiction. I learned exactly how to destroy someone's life while claiming it's for their own good." "Please," Mum reached for me, "we can fix this, as a family." "We're not family anymore," I pulled away. "We're just people who share DNA and a case number with the IRS. My phone buzzed, Genesis asking if I was okay. "The letters will arrive in 30 days, I said, walking away. "Don't bother trying to contact me before then, or after." "Ingrid," Mum called after me, "you can't just leave." But I could, and I did. That night, Genesis brought wine to my apartment. "So, it's done? Almost." I showed her the final numbers on my phone. "They'll owe about 80,000 in penalties and back taxes. Dad's business license is suspended pending review. And Luca," I laughed hollowly, "Luca's Vegas photos just got him flagged for additional income investigation." "How do you feel?" I thought about Mum's tears, Dad's anger, Luca's lies. "Empty," I admitted. "I thought I'd feel, I don't know, triumphant. Instead, I just feel tired." "Maybe that's the point," Genesis said softly. "Maybe revenge isn't supposed to feel good. Maybe it's just supposed to feel final." My phone lit up with a text from Simone. "Final notices prepared. Will be mailed Monday." I blocked my family's numbers one last time and looked out my window at the city lights. Somewhere out there, my parents were probably crying, Luca was probably lying, and karma was finally catching up to all of them. "So," Genesis raised her glass, "now what?" I didn't answer. Some questions don't need answers, they just need time. The apartment lease felt heavy in my hands. Not my dream house, but it was mine. No joint accounts, no family access, no strings attached. "Just need your signature here," the leasing agent said. As I signed, my phone buzzed. A letter had arrived at my old address. Genesis had been checking my mail. "It's from your dad," she texted. "Want me to open it?" "Please." A moment later, she sent me a photo of the letter. "See, Mingrid, the final IRS notices came today. They're seizing the house. Your mother can't stop crying. Luca's been served with additional tax liens. Everything we built over 40 years, gone. I hope you're satisfied with what you've done. You've removed yourself from this family for good. I raised you better than this." "Dad?" I handed the lease back to the agent. "When can I move in?" "Keys are yours now." My phone rang. Genesis. "You okay?" she asked. That letter was pretty harsh. "I'm fine." I walked out into the sunshine. "Actually, I need a favour. Help me go shopping." "For what?" "Everything. Furniture, dishes, decorations. I'm starting fresh." An hour later, we stood in the middle of Home Goods, my cart filling with new plates, new towels, new everything. "You sure about this?" Genesis asked as I added another throw pillow. "It's a lot of money." "I'm starting over," I said. "No hand-me-downs, no family heirlooms, no memories, just mine." My phone buzzed again. Victoria, of course. "Your mother's being treated for anxiety attacks. Your father's business is closing. Is this what you wanted?" I blocked her number. "They're still trying to make you the villain," Genesis observed. "They always will." I picked up a coffee mug with "Fresh Start" written on it. But here's what they don't understand. I'm not the villain or the hero. I'm just someone who finally stopped playing by their rules. We loaded my purchases into Genesis's car when another text came through from Gabriel. "Your brother's in trouble again. Deeper this time. Don't worry, I won't let him drag you into it." "Block him too?" "No," I said. "Keep that one. Might need it someday." At my new apartment, we started unpacking. Everything new, everything mine. No history, no guilt, no obligation. "Letter came from the IRS too," Genesis said, pulling it from her purse. Inside was a formal notice. Case closed, penalties assessed, justice in black and white. "So that's it?" Genesis asked. "It's really over?" "Almost." I pulled out my phone and opened my email. "Mom, Dad, Luca, this is my last message to you. The IRS case is closed. The penalties are set. Whatever happens next is out of my hands. You taught me everything I know about family, about loyalty, about sacrifice, about consequences. So don't be surprised that I learned those lessons well. Dad, you always said actions have consequences. Now you know that includes your actions too. Mum, you always told me family protects family, but you never protected me from them. Luca, you once said I was so fucking perfect. I'm not. I'm just better at learning from mistakes, especially yours. Don't contact me again. Don't look for me. Don't try to make this right. You didn't lose me. You gave me away, piece by piece, year after year. I'm just finally handing back the receipt. Ingrid? I hit send, then deleted the email account entirely. Brutal, Genesis whispered. Honest, I corrected, hanging up a new mirror. For the first time in my life, completely honest. My phone buzzed one last time. Simone Cooper. Case closed, justice served, well done. I deleted that too. Standing in my new apartment, surrounded by new things and no history, I felt something unexpected. Peace. Not happiness, not triumph, just peace. Help me hang these curtains? I asked Genesis. You sure you want the blue ones? I'm sure, I smiled. They're exactly what I would choose. And that was the point, wasn't it? Finally choosing for myself? Finally living without their shadow? Finally free. Genesis hugged me suddenly. You know what? You didn't just get revenge. You got yourself back. I hugged her back, looking around at my new life, my chosen life. Want to order pizza and break in my new couch? Obviously. As the sun set outside my new windows, I thought about Dad's letter, about removing myself from the family for good. He had it backwards, though. They removed me long ago, piece by piece, dollar by dollar, lie by lie. I just finally stopped trying to put myself back. The pizza arrived, and Genesis poured wine into my new glasses. No family drama, no manipulation, no theft disguised as love. Just peace, just freedom, just mine. And that was enough.